Hello everyone, my name is Ajay. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can develop a web service, so WCF web service. So usually in this video I'm planning to explain about how you can develop a WCF web service, then after how you can connect it to database and how you can retrieve the data from the database and serve it to the clients who want to consume the service. So to start with, so to explain this in detail, I want to use a new project and I want to show it in an example. So for that I'm creating a new project. So, so I'm selecting a WCF service. Okay, and I'm naming it as sample project. Okay, yep. So here if you see, I got this service created and my service is ready here. So in the service, if you can see, I got iService.cs file and I got service1.svc. So in the service1.svc I got another .cs file. So what basically these files are means, iService1.cs means, it consists of an interface which is actually known as the service contract. So for now, let me remove all these comments. Okay, I just want to remove everything. I just want to start from scratch. So yeah. So usually in the iService1.cs we will be having an interface, and then after in the interface what all methods that we have, we'll be implementing those methods in the service1.cs file. So just want to remove everything so that I can explain from scratch. Okay, so so in the iService1.cs, initially I need to create an interface. So name it interface, and I'm naming it as iService 1. Okay, and actually my goal of the service is to have 4 methods. Like one is to display the person details, and the other one is to have the option of inserting the person into the database, and the other one is to update the details of the person in the database, and the other method is to delete the person from the database. So for getting the person from the database, I want to have the return type as enumerable. So before this, for a person I want to create a class as a data model, and I can use it as a data model, and also for using the class person for assigning the properties and everything so on. So that's the reason I want to create a class for the person. Okay, and for the person I want to have 3 properties. The first one I would say as ID, and the second one I would say as name, third one I would say as the address. Okay, so I got the person class created just before, and to this person class I'm having 3 properties: the ID, name, and address. So for this I want to create the methods in the interface. I just want to declare the methods in the interface for doing all the CRUD operations to the database. So for that, uh, the first method I want is to get all the person details. So I'm using the return type as enumerable. as it returns the collection for me. So, and this type is person, generic type is person, and I'm naming it as get persons. Okay, this is the first method, and the second method I want is to I just want to insert a person into the database. So it's just a void return type and insert person, and here it will be expecting a person object. I mean, I need a person object as an input parameter for inserting it into the database, so I'm taking a person as the parameter, input parameter for this method declaration. And then after I need another method for updating the person details. So here usually it will here also I mean need to pass the person object where I want to actually update the details. Okay, and the next method that I want is to delete the person details. So here just I need to expect an input parameter as int id, so that based on that id I can delete the person from the database. So if you see, I'm done creating with the interface. I declared 4 methods in the interface, and also I'm done with creating a class person, which is actually for data model for me person. So in a WCF service, for exposing your interface and for your exposing your interface methods and for exposing your data class complex type and everything, you need to have you need to give some attributes to that. So 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 for just making this exposable to the client side, I need to use some attributes. So those attributes are for the interface. I need to give an attribute known as service contract, and to the method declarations of this interface I need to give the operation contract attribute. Okay, so I'm done with these attributes for the service interface. And for making the data complex types exposable to the client side, I need to use a contract known as data contract on the complex type, the person, and to the each property I need to use the data member as the attribute for exposing, for making possible for serializing and everything on the client side. Okay, so I'm done with the interface. I've just declared the interface with the required methods that I want, and also I've declared I've created a class called person. So everything is fine for now. So the next step is to implement those declarations in the interface. So here if you see, the class service1 is inheriting from the interface iService1. So I need to implement all those 4 methods in this class. So for that I'll be just using this option, implement interface. So here if you see, I got all the methods that are that I have declared in the interface. So to start with, so initially whatever I want to do, whatever operations I want to do with these methods, I want to do it with the database. So for that I want to use the entity code first approach for getting connected to the database and for creating the tables in the database from the code itself. So for making it possible, I just want to add an entity framework to the project by going to manage NuGet packages, and here you can see the entity framework. So I want to install that into my project. Okay, accept. finished. Okay, so here if you see, I mean in the references I got all the related, I mean I got all the references added to these references which are related to entity framework. So the next step is to build a class. I just want to add a new class, and to that new class I just want to do some coding so that where I can get connected to the database and I can do whatever operations that I want. I mean, for that I need to create a class initially. So I'm just adding a class. I'm naming it as person context. Yeah. So here if you see, I got the class added, and I just want to inherit this from db context. So I need to generate the namespace. So just need to inherit from db context class. So it's in the namespace using system.data.entity. So you can see this class only after adding the entity framework to your project. So I've just inherit from the db context. So here I need to create a constructor for that. For the person context, I'm creating the constructor for that, and I'm inheriting from the base constructor. So here in the base constructor, actually in this open and close braces, I need to pass the connection string. I mean I need to give the name of the connection string to which database that I'm getting connected to. So here I need to give the details. So before that, okay, so everything's done. So I need to give the connection string details, I mean here. So for that, usually if you go to web config file and so I've just added the connection string to the web config file. So here in the connection string, if you see, I got the data source, I mean based on my SQL Server properties and everything, I got the database. See, if you see, my server name is aj/SQL Server, and I'm making it for the Windows authentication. And in the database, I want to use person database as the database for me. So here if you see, I have no table set present. So but as I'm using the entity code first model, it will automatically generate tables for me in this database after I execute. So for now, if you see, I just got the person database, so I just want to use this database as my as in this project actually. So I need to give this name in the initial catalog of the connection string. So we're just naming it as database name. Okay, so then after, if you see, the integrated security is true just for making the Windows authentication possible. So I'm done with adding the connection string, and I just need to copy the name of the connection string. I mean my name, the name of this connection string is person, so I just need to copy that name and I just need to give and add it in the base class constructor. So it's actually a type, I just want to name this, it has some other thing. Okay, person connection string. Okay, so I've given the name here. Okay, I need to give in the quotations, double quotations. Okay, so I'm done with adding the connection string. I mean I'm done with giving this connection string name to the base class base constructor. So the next thing that I need to do is that right now I want to create a table called person. So to that table I need to have 3 columns: the ID column, name column, and the address column. So for making that possible, I need to modify this. I need to add some properties to this person class. So just I want to make, so as I want to make as I want to add these three columns to the database table. I mean, so for that columns I want to make this ID as a key. So for that reason I just added the attribute known as key to this property, and this, and also I want this to be the required field. I mean, for not allowing the null values. Same for the other properties also. Okay, so here if you see, I mean, now right now if I do any if I run this project, so it will automatically create a table known as person in my database, person database. It will automatically create a person data, a table in the person database, and with these three columns. I mean, with the ID as one column, name as another column, and address as another column, and the ID I've given the attribute known as key for the ID property. So it will this column will be the primary key of my table. So that's the reason I've given just that attributes to this class. So in the next step, in the entity code first model for getting connected to the database, is that I need to just add a property known as tbset. This generic type is the person, so I just want to create the person table, right, of the person data model, and naming it as persons. Okay, so I'm done with adding the property also. And also friends, for a detailed explanation about this entity code first approach, you can watch my previous videos in my channel where I was explaining only about entity code first approach from scratch. So I'm done with the adding the property in the person context. So I'm also done with giving the connection string, and I'm also done uh, by giving the just some additional data annotations on each of the property as per my requirement. Okay, so now everything is done. So the first requirement is, I mean, the first thing that I want to do is to, I just want to insert a person object. So for that, so whatever operations that I want to do with the database, I just need to use this person's property, and I just need to add or update or anything. I mean, I can do anything with this person's property. So for using this person's property in the required function, I just need to create a object to the person context class so that I can use this property in that class, in that method. So I'm creating an object for this. Then after, to this person's property, I want to add a person object. I mean, I want to add a row. Actually, it's like adding a row in the table. So for that you need to use the person's property, and to that you need to add a row. I mean, this will be actually expecting a person type of object. So here anyway I'll be inserting a person as an input person object as an input parameter to this method. So I just want to insert this person object to this add method, so that it will automatically add this person, it will automatically serialize, and it will add a row to the table in my database. And then after I need to save the changes. Okay, so before this, before implementing all other methods, I just want to test this method, I mean whether it is working or not. So for making it, I just want to run it for once. Okay, see, actually it automatically it was opening automatically in the WCF test client. So if not, if you cannot find this window in your Visual Studio, you just need to go to the developer command prompt of the Visual Studio, and just you need to use the option called WCF test client, so that okay, this option will pop up the window for you. I mean, this command will pop up a WCF test client window for you. So then there you need to go to the option for add service and you need to add the service for that. So for me actually it automatically open in the WCF test client, so I just want to use this one. So here if you see my service URL is local or something and service1.svc. so just before I've done the implementation for the insert person, so I just want to test this insert person whether it's working or not. So here if you see it is expecting a person object, so I need to pass a person object. So in the person object I'm having three fields: address, name and ID. So I want to pass some values to this, like USA, the name is Ajay, the ID I want to pass is 1. Okay, so if I click on invoke, so I think it seems to be fine. So I just need to go to my database and I have to check whether the table got created and to the table whether I got the data that I've inserted or not. So before that, I got exception here. So it says it is having exception actually. It says the person. Maybe I've spelled something wrong. So the person context. So here if you see, I've just given the wrong spelling of my connection string name. So my connection string name is persons yes, and so now everything is good. So I want to test it again. So I want to test this in the test client. So for that, I'm going to the command prompt and typing the command as WCF test client, so that there pops up a window. So to that I need to add a service. So my URL of the service is the URL of my service is this one. So I just need to add that URL to my to the test client. So then after I'm clicking on OK. So here if you can see all the methods that I was implementing in the I was using it I was creating in the service. So I just before I was implementing insert person, so I just want to test this whether it's working or not. So for that I need to pass the values for the person object. So I'm passing the values again. I'm passing the array one. Before that I want to keep a breakpoint. I just want to check whether it's coming to this method or not. So I just fill the values for the person object. So the next step is to invoke. So if you see I got the breakpoint was hit to this method. So if you see in the person object I got the values that I was entering in the test client. So if you see in the person object, so these values have to be inserted into the database. So for now in my database, if you see I don't have any tables. So as I'm using entity code first approach, it will automatically create the table in this database and then after it will be inserting the data that I was passing. So for going ahead, press F11. Okay, so it's done now. So if you go to the database and if you do refresh, just want to refresh the database, person database, and if you go and see in the tables, so here if you see the database or the table people and the migration history, these two tables were generated automatically as I was using the my entity code first approach. So if you select the this table, and also you can see there was a row inserted to this table. I was passing this from the test client, right? So now it seems to be good. Everything is working fine. The insert method is working fine. So I'm done with the insert method for now, and the next thing I have to do is okay, I'm done with the insert method, implementing the insert method. So the next thing I want to implement is I just want to uh, get persons. I want to display all the persons. I want to get all the persons from the database. So for that I just want to create a new list. The generic type as person, and to this and so I need to create an object for the person context for using the persons property where I can get the data from the table. So if you see, so this property will be having all the database table. This person's property of the DB context class will be having all the data of my table. So I can just use this, and it is I can just assign it to a list as it is, as the return type of this persons is DB set. So I can also assign this value to a list. So as before, just before I created a list li before, so I'm assigning this to this one. I'm creating a to list. Okay, so I'm done now. So I just assign this collection to the list that I've created, and I'm returning that list. Okay, so let's test this one whether it's working fine or not. So again, I want to run this service. So I want to check the get persons. So it is not expecting any value as input, so just I need to get the person details, right? So I'm invoking it. So here if you see, I got these details. For now I got in this format. Later on, if I can make I can populate this to the UI or to the any kind of application as a XML object, and then by creating an object in the client side you can consume this one. So for now I'm just testing, so I'm getting the data that I want, so everything is good for the get persons method. Okay, so I'm done with the get persons also. The next thing I want to do is the update. I want to implement the update person method. So here in the update person method, again I want to create an object for the person context for using the person's property. And before that, so usually in the database, I mean before this I just want to insert two more values to my database to just explain in detail. So I just want to go to the test client again, and I will be inserting two more values. So I want to assign just two more values just to have a proper explanation. So name is promote, the ID is 2. Okay, and the other one is and the ID is 3. Just I'm adding these values to my database table. So just to make a proper explanation, so I'm having 3 rows at present. So I want to update the for updating a row in the table, I just need to have I will be implementing this method for that. So in this method I will be creating the object for the person context initially for using the person's property. So for updating I need to I'll be writing a link query for that. So like from person in pivot.persons where select person. So what actually this link query is that, so I'm selecting only the first one. So here if you see in this link query, so actually I'm passing a person object. So in this person object I'll be having the ID to which I want to update. So So in this person object I will be also having the id, so I will be updating the row that is having that this person object is matching with. So if you see in the link query, I'm first selecting a person, a single, I mean one by one. It is like a for each loop. From pivoted persons it may be having many number of rows, so it will be selecting one by one row and it will be storing in this per, and then after it will be checking the condition whether this dot id is equal to this person dot id. If so, if it is matching, then it will select that particular row in the database table. And finally, in some cases for this condition there may be more than one table in the database, one row in the table. So for that reason I was using first. I mean it will select only the first row that was matching to this condition. So this is about that link query. And so just now, I mean here if you see in this variable c, I will be getting the row that I will be selecting using this condition. So for that row I want to update the values. I just want to update the values as per my person object values. So I don't want to update the id, but I want to update the name and the address. Okay, okay, and I want to save the changes. So if you see, just I may be passing some value to this method. So at that time I will be having id, name and address to this object. So I will be just matching the id that I will be matching the id that I want to update the row in the table, and after matching that row I will be just updating the name and the address of that row as per my requirement, and I will be saving the changes. So I'm done implementing this method. So I just want to test whether it's working or not. So for doing that I'm running it again. So if you see, if you go to the update person and it is expecting 3 values, so I want to make it as USA only, and I want to change the name from Ajay to Ajay Reddy. So so if you see, I want to update this row actually. So in this row I'm having the id as 1 and the name as Ajay. So I want to update this name Ajay to Ajay Reddy. So for that I'm just passing the values to this row. So this row's id is 1, so I'm passing the value as 1. So for this, I mean the id is 1, so that's the reason I was passing this. So it will be updating this row name to Ajay Reddy from Ajay. So let me invoke and check it. Okay, so let me check in the database. So here if you see, it was updated successfully. So it seems, I mean the update method is also working well. So I'm done with the insert, I mean I'm done with the insert method, get persons method and the update person method also. So everything is working fine till now, and the only method left is the delete method. So here I want to delete a person row from the table. So for making that possible, I mean I need to use the link query again. So I need to select the row first. Based on this idea, I want to select the row in the table, and then after I can delete that, so that I can delete that row from the table. For doing that, I just want to use the person context object again, and I want to use the link query again for selecting a row from the database table based on my condition. So where dot id equal to this id, so it must match this id, right, the value that I am passing to the method, and I'm selecting that row, and there may be more number of rows available for the given condition. So for that reason I'm using the first method for selecting only one row, and then after I'm going to the person's property and I want to remove that object. I mean, if you see in the var c, I will be having only the row of the table which is matching this condition. So I want to remove that row from the database table. So I'm passing that value here. Okay, and I want to save changes. Okay, so I'm done with implementing this method. For now I want to test it. So for testing it, I'm running it again. Okay, so delete person, so and it is expecting only one value. So for now I want to remove the first row from my table. So for making that possible, the ID of my first row is 1, so I need to pass the value as 1 over here, and I want to invoke that. Yeah, so let me check in my database. So here if you see, my first row was deleted from my database. So now everything is working fine. So if you see, the delete person is working good, and the get person is working good, and insert person and update person are working good. So I'm done with implementing all the methods that I want in the service, and the next thing that I have to do is to consume this service in the client side. So I want to show this actually, I want to consume this actually in my MVC application. So for now, that's all in this video. In the next video I'll be explaining about how you can consume this service in an MVC application. So that's it friends in this video. I mean, in overall I've just implemented all the CRUD operations that I wanted for retrieving and updating and doing all the operations from the database. I've done in the form of WCF service. That's it. So in this video I was explaining all about developing a WCF service and also implementing the CRUD operations using entity code first approach. So in the next video I'll be explaining how to consume this service in the MVC application. So thank you friends. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.